Sacred prioritization. So, we are talking about something that shows up in the soul experience through the human representation of human experiencing that will help you to understand when you have come to a point where the universe or consciousness will respond directly to you. So, if you haven't received any of my transmissions or communications in education of consciousness before, I am Geeia Ariati. I am here to assist those to activate the remembrance of who they truly are and live aligned by their soul, by their unique desires as individuals, and to understand this experience of consciousness, to understand the development of soul evolution, and to start to get a little bit more intricacy through logistical interpretation or self reflection or the laws of universal interpretation to understand thyself, to come into connection with the strategies or the frameworks, the processes that allow for one to become interconnected with their true self through stages, through developmental processes. So I have very much worked with the process of purification, specifically rooted in ancient Egyptian energies. So, the process of purification through the Temple of Isis and through being heavily initiated through the Baraka process, which is the process that the gods and the goddesses and the Templars and the priests and the priestesses would go through in Egypt, was to move through the purification in this pathway to become embodied as a clear vessel for spirit, for God. So that was the process of becoming God in form, the process that is now available to us, which we would more consider the process of enlightenment. So it is specifically the 7 chakra systems into a point beyond the ego construct and the separate mind interpretation into the God self in form. And so that is a process that I've heavily created a lot of my work around. And so understanding Earth School and the evolution and the hierarchical stages is really helpful for us to understand ourselves. And so today I'm talking about something that I'm witnessing as a big collective. So if this is happening to you, then it's really important for you to understand why it's happening and what you're creating if you're unawares of it, you're not listening, or you're still playing a little bit of push and pull. Because each awakening, each evolution, each frequency shift, things that were not a problem in the previous dimension of how you're experiencing yourself were fine, right? There's a delay. There's a delay in consciousness because of your bandwidth, because of your frequency capacity, because of your integration, because of your human knowledge. And then you get to a point where you shift, and what wasn't appearing in that reality then shows up and can appear in the form of having different challenges show up, different things that were not present and that cause disruption in your experience. And this one is the law of response. And how it shows up is in sacred prioritizing. So if that resonates, now I know that sounds very ethereally and kind of cosmic, but sacred prioritizing. So, how does one know that they're in this stage, which is around the 5th initiate phase of purification? If we say that it's 7 stages to enlightenment as an average for most human beings, to live in a point of sovereign truth beyond separate mind or ego identity. This stage is the 5th stage for man and for woman. So it doesn't matter if you're male or female, although we go through it in different lenses from different perspectives because of our biology. We are able to experience, so women experience their initiations inwardly first, and then they see them manifest on the outside, whereas men notice their initiations on the outside and then bring and integrate that energy into the inside. And that's really important to understand. Now, you might say that it's not man or woman, it's more masculine and feminine, and you would be correct. But a woman that is in her feminine will go internal and then manifest it. A man that is in his masculine will go external, and then bring it in. And so the only difference between us is the directions that we interpret reality. The only difference is the ways that we piece together the puzzle pieces of consciousness based on where we're functioning from to find our unity point. And so this fifth initiate phase of sacred prioritization as a awareness of what this will create in your life is that you start to notice in your mind or your body or your energy system some kind of I can't do that, or a feeling of contraction, a feeling of trigger, a feeling of cringe, a feeling of something in your life. Okay, so sacred prioritization is where you go, I was doing this, this was feeling aligned, this felt true, and now it feels like this. It doesn't feel good in my body. It doesn't feel flowing. It doesn't feel expansive. It doesn't feel vibrationally supportive. It doesn't feel as though it's my truth anymore. Now, what happens before this stage is most of us will probably push through. We've got stories around integrity. We've got stories about showing up for the things that we think we need to do. We've got all of these like, oh, I got to move through the resistance and do it anyway. So there is like a very real journey of, yes, sometimes you're going to have to move through the resistance and do it anyway, and get up, go to the gym, get up and do whatever it is that you'll need to do. And there's a level of push in prioritization, and there's a focus of mind and body moving through the uncomfortability. But when you step into the fifth initiate phase, what happens is a shift out of push. You no longer push yourself to do certain things to, say, meet yourself in a trigger or to further evolve yourself through some kind of initiation. Instead, what happens is you realize that things are going to be of contribution or they're going to be of subtraction. And that is what opens up as the reality is I actually can't push myself to go to the gym anymore, because if I do, my body's going to go into swelling. I might injure myself, or there's going to be a physical response that comes up because I'm not listening to the law of response. And so the law of response is where your frequency has evolved to a point where you are high enough in energy that basically what you do, if you had a group of possibilities for the weekend, and if we break this down really simple, if you have some things for the weekend, you've got a family barbecue over here, you've got a date with someone new over here, and then you've got a spiritual practice over here, but you're still dancing between, well, I told my family I was going to go to this first, found out this amazing spiritual opportunity for me to sit with myself came last. And there's also this experience of this date that feels all right, but, like I'm not overly excited, but it would be nice to do. Now, if you are put in a situation like that, what you can do by any means, all human beings do this, is they can rationalize it. You can dissect, manipulate, find a reason to do something. You can find a flow state. You can justify. You can move through all of those layers that have made you very self-aware, of course, questioning, interpreting, navigating, looking at your stories. And that has been helpful. But when you get to the point of the law of response, if you push yourself to say, I said to my family that I was going to go to this event first, and it literally is hurting you to move towards that trajectory, or your mind's coming up with stories, you're getting anxiety, there's something there, and you do it, what happens is because of the law of response, you directly create a response in the energetic field. So your response is where you're putting energy into something that is not aligned with your soul's presentation at that moment. So the soul has got to a point of presentation where it has developed enough that that is a detrimental experience. That becomes extremely devastating. And the response point is you've heard the message, you've felt the feelings, you've navigated, you've done the head thing, and you go anyway. you will hit a response from universe that is very quick. And so what that is things like yeah, car can break down, accidents can happen. You end up with something quite abrasive, right? So this is the law of response. Is say you have been hearing in your guidance, don't pick up your phone while you're driving. Stay focused on the road. And you've heard it. Maybe you got a speeding fine. Maybe you've you've been pulled over by the cops, but you still keep picking your phone up or navigating a text message while you're driving, and you're hearing through many outputs, no more. And you hit this new shift of sacred prioritization, and you don't sacredly prioritize that intuitive guidance. You don't sacredly prioritize that message. You don't sacredly prioritize what you know is creating momentum and juiciness in your life. You'll hit the brick walls. And these brick walls happen so fast. A kangaroo, can tell I'm in Australia today. A kangaroo might jump out in front of your car as you glance, just a glance at your phone, right? And that is where this sacred prioritizing is really important for those of you in this collective recognition, because it is things that are becoming a point of, no, you can't actually do something that's against your soul. You can't place your attention there. You can't ignore your intuitive guidance. You can't get to a point where you're like, it's okay. I'll do my spiritual thing another time. I'll just go to the family event. It's actually so the response of universal creation or consciousness will give you such a disruptive experience that you go, oh, fuck. I didn't realize how important it was for me to listen now, right? So this is where we can either build momentum by sacredly prioritizing to the flow, to the information, to the recognition that we've come into an evolvement where guidance, feeling, sensation, information is a necessity, and the synchronicities. So the law of response is where you start to get those. If you're in alignment, you'll get your synchronicities. Da, 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 da. Look at the clock. It'll be 11:11. Hear a word literally after you've said a sentence, and it's like a song comes on and validates it. The law of response is that quick. It will be that fast. Now, we all have synchronicities and we all work in and out of the law of response at different times. But when sacred prioritization is in your human experience, in that form of urgency or real contraction, your body goes, oh, I can't do this. I literally can't move. This is where you have to go, no story is going to support me to continue this. I have to close it down. I have to shut this off. I have to leave this relationship. I have to change my behaviors or my patterns. I have to, because if you don't, that law of response will give you the reason to do it. And it doesn't often do it through ease and grace. It does it through contrast, abrasiveness, and a level of a brick wall. Stop, listen. And it's not a way that we have to learn. And it's important to understand soul evolution and soul development, that you do not have to learn yourself through triggers. You do not have to learn yourself through karma. You do not have to learn yourself through the chaos of the human experience if you understand these different developmental stages. So this is only for those that are in the fifth initiate phase, that have come to a point where they hear, they're connected to their body, right? So how do you know this is you? You have a connection and communication with your body. Your body gives you signals and it sends messages. It might be that your body has strong feelings. It might be that your body actually has tremors or convulsions. It might be that your body is responding to something without your conscious interpretation. So a connection to the body is an absolute must to know that you are in the alignment or using the law of response to create your reality. The other area of necessity is that you have messages. Now, messages come in different forms. Messages can come through your own thought. Messages can come through someone talking to you right now, where you're like, I've heard that message multiple times now through different people. That's a message coming to you. It can come through different videos. It can come through different writings. It can come through symbolization. So messages is a requirement to know that you are in this phase. And also the third area of awareness is when we have what you might consider lesson learning. So when you're consciously aware that you're now learning lessons for your soul. So learning lessons in the form of you start becoming aware that you're in an initiation. You start to become aware that when you meet someone, they've got a lesson for you. You start to walk a path where you know that you're learning a lesson to better become embodied, that you are driven into specific experiences to develop something. So lesson learning, you can't, it's not from after the lesson, after the fact, right? You after the fact is not really a lesson learning, it's a learning through reflection. That's very different. This is, okay, I'm being guided to go this path because I have a lesson to learn. I have something to integrate. I have to embody something, and this path is that trajectory. So it's a level of future forecasting or oracle visioning or prophesizing your own life, because you're aware that the pathway forward has this information on it, which will support your journey. So those are the three main areas. Because of the collective shift that we have had over the Lion's Gate, there is a mass amount of souls stepping into this level of experience. And if we want to support this trajectory in the most kind and loving way for ourselves, is recognizing that if there's a lot of us that have gone into the law of response and we actually don't listen and we're not working with everything that I've spoken to today, then you're going to have a lot of abrasive, chaotic energy coming into the field. Now, that has a ripple effect, right? The more chaos that one creates, the more chaos that is fed through the entire human experience, the more response and working with the response of consciousness, the more ease or connectivity, synchronicity flow can be created. And so this is where the human being starts to go, I don't do push and pull anymore. Right? So this is the exact stage of development of a soul when push and pull becomes something that you go, I don't have to choose that. I don't have to push and pull with my environment. I'm not going to place myself in positions where it creates a pull. I'm not going to put myself in a position where I am being drawn and pulled, right? So this is the alchemy out of the human psyche and the fragmentation that creates push and pull. So initiation number 5 for man and woman, sacred prioritization. Where is it that you're being prioritized? Through feeling sensation, not getting pulled, not contracting, and listening to your guidance so that you can have the law of response and this reality support you in your experience. So I hope you enjoyed this education, this quick drop in around all of the layers of how we can start to understand our journey and negate the pathway. Now, I didn't do this. I learned through experience, and I'm here to help through Earth School, through the layers of consciousness, so that some of those hits are not as hard for you, so that you can hear the message, receive it, and integrate it. So I'm going to leave you with a question. And the question is to respond on and to reflect on in relation to everything that's been spoken. And it is If I sacredly prioritize what is true for my soul, what is the possibility that would become available? So, if I sacredly prioritize to my soul, what is the possibility that would become available? Because everything is energy. And the more energetic the capacity, the more that you have to create new possibilities, new pathways, and gift yourself possibly, probably the thing that your heart actually desires. I love you so very much. Thank you for tuning in. If you liked this, please like, subscribe, comments. Let's get some engagement, please, people. And let's share some of this beautiful message with the world. All right. Love you. I love you. I love you.